What is that?
That's a Tazio Ottis.
What is a Tazio Ottis?
He's my business partner.
Does he speak English? Okay.
Oh, he doesn't speak English.
What does he speak? Carburetor, right?
Carburetor.
Oh, okay.
Weber, French.
Weber? Weber's Italian, I thought.
No, Weber and French.
Oh, oui.
Weber, comma, French.
Bonjour. And
Salut.
welcome to this wonderful edition of the Carmudgeon Show.
We do another intro en français? On peut?
We did this again already.
Oui,
I'd like for you
on
to
a
do
fait
one in
déjà.
Weber.
Okay. That's gonna. I don't speak Weber. It's just gonna be a bunch of explosions.
It's a lot of induction noise.
Tazio Ottis, my business partner, professional mechanic, racing driver, and most importantly, rally attendee with me.
Most importantly, he's a fan of the shitbox.
Yeah, that's implicit in rally attendee.
And also being friends with
motoring
us,
shitbox. Yeah. So we will, on this episode of the Carmudgeon Show, discuss two rallies that we did, which were very similar. And by very similar, I mean...
Not at all.
Not at all similar.
Similar in that you took old cars on roads.
Yeah, I guess that's about where things end in terms of similarity. That will be the Colorado Grand, a very premium event, and I don't even know if we have a name for it, but it was the $2,000 shitbox rally.
The first ever annual OTS
rally.
Company shitbox rally.
Yeah. So we'll talk about those events, and I'm
going to play with the battery tender bobblehead while you clap.
Okay, I'm going to do the clap, and we're going to get the jingle. That one was genuinely good.
That one was actually like a solid B+.
Thank you.
It's your presence.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for
Thank you for helping him clap.
Anytime.
For sake.
Okay, on to the jingle.
Derek, are you doing homework?
Always.
Oh, don't let me interrupt you.
No, please.
What are we looking at here?
We're talking about the battery tender charge and start.
Oh, unless you're from Michigan.
In which case it's
the charge and start.
Oh, yes, of course. Are they from Michigan? I don't think so. But they are, I think, an American company.
Listeners are from... Can you say charge? Charge and start.
There you go.
If you can say that, you can work for Stellantis. You can work for Chrysler because you have the tap shift and the Tiger Shark and the big stab bars. That's how Detroit people talk.
So the name charge and start implies that it both charges and starts. So it's an all-in-one.
Charges and starts.
Yeah, if you're in Detroit or upper Midwest generally.
I do believe this is an industry first, right? The first jumper box that also
tends your battery.
Tends your. Did you say battery or Bowery?
Battery.
Oh, your T's were muffled somewhere.
I'm from California. We say in general, American people say water instead of water. We don't pronounce the T's. We pronounce D's.
You're from here.
That's an American thing generally. When
water.
British people are making fun of American accents, we say D's instead of T's. Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Water.
We're talking about the battery tender.
Unless you're from Philly, in which case you say wooder.
Sure, that's also true. And I think they do that in Australia also.
Australia? Oh, welcome to the accent episode of the Carmudgeon Show. The idea with this charge and start being that it's two devices in one, and everyone needs a jump starter with them at all times.
It is a good idea.
It is a really good idea, especially with the shit boxes that we drive.
That's absolutely true.
Okay. Don't forget to get 20% off now at batterytender.com with a coupon code Haggerty20.
All right. As you can see, this episode is sponsored by Battery Tender.
They can hear that.
Yeah, they can potentially see it too if they're watching.
They should also
on YouTube.
be able to see that there's an intruder.
Yes. That's
we will have already introduced him, but
yes. Tazio Ottis.
Tazio
Ottis, or Tazio Ottis Racing.
Tazatis.
Yes, all of these are acceptable to me, but probably not to him. So Taz is my business partner. Why don't you start, Taz, and introduce yourself? Tell us just, a couple minutes about your automotive history, where you're coming to the land of cars from.
Sure. My dad's Patrick Ottis. He started a Ferrari restoration shop well before I was born, and I ultimately was born into that whole entire world. When I was 6, he would give me a carburetor to put together and take apart and put together until it was time to go home after school. So I got used to doing that type of stuff, and then I really fell in love with what cars were and what you could do with them. I started racing go-karts when I was 12. I continued that into racing prototypes in IMSA and some touring car stuff, and I still play with ship boxes today with you.
Yes, we do
What I
that.
love the most is that you just said shitboxes when you're also working on Ferraris. But the first time I met you, actually, this is many, many, many years ago at this point, I pulled into a gas station New Year's Eve at New Year's Day at like 7 a.m. or something. And there was a red, correct me if I'm wrong, red Chevy Turbo Sprint.
Yep.
Yeah, lost my mind.
Yep.
And I'm like, what moron is out on New Year's morning? We were going to the same rally, as it turns out.
Yeah, it's a bummer because
football.
I feel like there's a lot of these cars that I have regrets that I got rid of, and that's certainly one of them. We just did a shipbox rally this past weekend, and that car would have been so ideal for it.
Shitboxes are the way to go. I mean, you know, your family is all about the Ferrari, and I love that you have it. Did your dad like want to disown you when you pulled up with that thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a regular occurrence, though. I just drove an MG midget that I got for $1,800 into the shop, and I don't think he talked to me for the day. So.
I love that. I love that. No son of mine is going to drive this.
Yeah, but he has certainly some of the shared characteristics of you and I, which is interest in driving whatever it is to whatever it can do.
And then and beyond.
And yeah, beyond. So we intended for this episode to be about the Colorado Grand because we just did it together, and that's the car that we did it in, which is we'll talk about it in a minute. But we also just did a shitbox rally, so we'll maybe talk about that also.
So kind
you
of
see the
opposite
full spectrum,
right? It was because the opposite financial.
Definitely,
right?
Yes, one rally probably should have paid us to do it, and then the other one we paid to do a non-trivial amount because you stay in nice hotels and they feed you and all that. And
not familiar with that concept.
That was not what happened on our rally. So yeah, we did the Colorado Grand is a 1,000-mile event that happens in Colorado, hence the name, limited to cars 1960 and earlier. And we did it in this 1956 Alfa Romeo Giulia Sprint, which Taz basically built. So you tell us the story. I think your dad found this car.
Yeah, this car was regular at the All Italian Car Show in Alameda that just happened yesterday. A guy named Earl had it. He was, I think, a welding teacher, perhaps. Mm-hmm. For years, he had this in a little SZ as well, and they stayed in a hangar in Hayward. And my dad followed the car, bugged him all the time if he'd ever sell it, and eventually
he bought it new.
He wasn't the first owner, but he was the first registered owner. So technically, he was the first real owner. I think another guy, maybe through a dealer, had it for a couple of years or so, and then he was the first registered owner. So that made my dad the second registered owner.
Cool.
And
so you've had it for, I think we did the math. It was like 8 years or something like that.
Yeah.
And what has happened to it since you bought it?
Well, I should probably back up. My first real car that I got for free when I was 14 was a regular Sprint. It was a dark blue regular Sprint that rolled over on the California Melee. And I resuscitated
92?
it. Yeah, 92, before I was born. And I resuscitated it. I found a top at Glenn Oliver's shop that I welded on, painted it, realized I didn't want to do body work for the rest of my life. And ultimately, I sold it for a Formula Mazda, and that was one of those cars that I regret selling to this day. So when we got this car, I ultimately went on a journey to do everything that I'd ever wanted to do to that car, which is a very long list, and I don't know if I should bore the podcast with it.
Engine, hot engine.
Yeah, hot engine, big bore kit, pitatory cams from Megacycle right down the street from here. I did a 2-liter rear end in it, welded the axle tubes to still do the drum brakes, did 3 shoe brakes up front.
5-speed?
5-speed, Lighten GTA gear set.
How big is the motor now?
1,500, 15. Big block.
Because normally they're 1,300.
Yeah, fully adjustable conies that you can't tell by the shock bodies because it's all internal. Custom spring rates, front and back. It's got a whole bunch of Giulietta lightweight bits and bobs on it.
Yeah, everyone who knows those cars freaks out about the bumpers because they're the raw aluminum bumpers that were for the lightweights, and they are real.
One of our friends has a real lightweight, and he was going to throw those bumpers away because he got reproduction ones, and
that were newer and shinier.
Yeah, so we grabbed those.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's probably the whole thing's pretty hard to reproduce, but that's one of the more special parts of the car, the low lightweight bumpers. So we did the Cal Melee
so
in the car.
So you drove the car, or you shipped the car?
We shipped the car to Denver. We did the Cal Melee in April in the car, April, May, I guess. and then Colorado Grand. So this is the year of the like high dollar rallies for us for this car. Now that we can afford to do it after starting our business, because we've started the business.
Where's the OTS
not even 2
company
years.
livery? There should be livery
There
all over
is
this.
nothing actually.
You better do it quick before the IRS finds out that you're trying to write that off as a business expense. I'm
There's
kidding.
lots of photos with us in our OTS swag.
Okay,
and
that's
jackets and
true.
Stuff, right?
Back off, IRS.
And the organizers of the Grand. So there's a bunch of things about the Grand that are really cool, and we both had a really great time on the event. And I think one of the defining characteristics of the event that distinguishes it, at least from the Cal Melee, which is the only other high dollar event that we've done, is there's a sort of orientation towards community that the event has, which I was not expecting. And so it's heavily, for good reason, obviously, they sponsor the Colorado Highway Patrol. And so you get a motorcycle escort of CHP. They are also called CHP. Colorado Highway Patrol. And so there's the guys out who are with you running the entire event in motorcycles, providing an escort, which is kind of neat because the event, it's a charity event. And so they raise all this money and a lot of it goes to Colorado Highway Patrol. But they also give money to like various local small towns and communities. And so, there's always a coffee stop in the morning and in the afternoon, and the coffee stop is always in some community where they have given a bunch of money. And so you'll stop at like a health center or a college or something where they have contributed, over the course, the event's been running since 1989. So it's, almost 40 years at this point. They've contributed millions of dollars of charity to these various small towns that, this one was like the only health clinic within 60 miles of this is here. And they paid for a substantial portion of it or whatever. So the other thing that they do, which I think is quite neat, is that they issue a Colorado registration license plates that are good for the duration of the event, which means that a bunch of people who have cars that aren't street registered can bring their car on the event. And so all these like kind of race cars are just there with like a license plate on it. And, it says Colorado Grand on the plate. He had one made for us that says OTS on it.
Oh, cool.
Which we were delighted by. If you were, friendly with the organizer, he would get something suitable for your license plate that was, appropriate. So our business name was on it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's cool.
So like, some people got their last name on their plates or something like that. So normally it's just a number, which is cool because you're running around with a license plate that says like 71. It's like a 2-digit license plate. So that community orientation was kind of neat. And that was
Also really smart.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean,
although it didn't stop Taz from getting a speeding ticket.
Yeah, I think you get a false sense of security in the event because, day one, you're introduced to all the motors, which is what they call the CHP. And they tell you that they're going to protect you, but don't be stupid. So
but you have to be nearby for them to protect you. And
local cops don't realize that you're being protected.
Yes.
As nice as they might be.
Yeah. We were running well ahead of the first escort, and that was the problem.
That's the whole point of an escort. They go first.
He didn't want to get stuck in traffic.
Well, look, so we learned this lesson in the Cal Melee where if you start like middle of the pack, you're just going to be stuck behind things going 20 miles an hour under the speed limit, right?
Yeah,
so,
there's 70, 80, 100-year-old cars.
Yeah, so there's these group of
With
people
70,
that are
80, 100-year-old drivers.
having a great time and experience with their cars and using them, which I think is fantastic. But, if you want to be out there hauling ass,
he drives the way that we do on our rallies, but most of the people on these events don't do that because the cars are old and the drivers are usually older also, and they're just not doing things the way you and I do, or Taz, obviously.
But if you jump out in that front pack, typically there's like the 5 guys in the front that kind of leave a little bit early and are
like
hustling. Yeah. And so you want to get out with that pack, but as we soon learned, that gives out speeding tickets.
Big one or moderate one or
moderate?
The 5th.
If you pay early enough, it's a point reduction, which is nice.
Okay.
So anyway, that was a learning opportunity. What other notes about the Colorado Grand? The types of roads are very different.
Yeah.
And the cars. We can talk about, I guess, both of those
All right,
things.
so how many days is it?
It's 4 driving days, so 200-ish, 200 to 300 miles a day.
In some of these old cars. I mean, those things,
Yeah.
that I'm guessing that car's bulletproof and you don't even think twice about.
We weren't without incident.
Yeah. There was intervention a little bit.
Yeah, we heard. So Colorado, the Grand is different from California because California's roads are very tight. They're the roads that we're very familiar with, very technical, which suit that car. The Colorado Grand starts at 8,150 feet, and you go up to 12,000 at times.
Carburetors don't like that.
Mm-mm. So, they jetted the car down before it left and had to do some fettling, but there's not much air up there, so you're not making much power. And so, I don't know, there were times where you were continuously wide open throttle for 4-5 minutes, like matted for 4 or 5 continuous
gear,
minutes.
like high revs.
In fourth gear at 5,000-6,000 RPM.
Just flat.
Yeah. Just going up some hill.
For those of us who drive slow shitboxes, that's not all that uncommon, but yeah.
Yeah. It was... So the roads are fast, and it favors a car with horsepower and cubes and torque, and this car doesn't have that much of any of those things, especially at 11,000 feet.
I mean, I think that's the reason there's the Escort and all that as well, right? Because you have cars like... There was 3 Jaguar D Types, right? Okay. I mean, there was some heavy hitters, but also
6
some...
SWBs.
Yeah, but some high horsepower stuff there too for the period. And those things on those roads are capable of doing 140 miles an hour, like cruising all day long, right?
We were not.
So we were not.
The cars are really extraordinary too. Maybe even a notch above the Calmile's cars, actually. Not maybe, honestly, definitely a step. I mean, so we saw the 6 250 SWBs, the 3 D Types, there was a 250 Testarossa, there was a 500 TRC.
1,000 miles on a 250 TR.
Yeah,
I mean,
and all these guys...
The rain, it rained pretty much every single day.
Yeah.
Heavy.
And those are not coupes.
Yeah, no. And they don't have like an emergency roof. They don't have side curtains. They don't have like a windshield that's, it's 6 inches tall windshield. There's no wipers. And these guys are in there with their goggles and leather helmets, or maybe sometimes helmets, and it's pouring rain. I mean, it's the same kind of shit that the guys who race the cars at Le Mans in period were doing.
That's cool.
It's pretty wild to see those cars out there getting used like that.
And for perspective, for those who don't know what a 250 Testarossa is worth,
I don't know. It's between $25 and $50 million.
Okay.
But
so these guys are driving 1,000 miles in the rain.
Yeah.
Very quickly in a car that's worth as much as my neighborhood and the neighborhood next to it and the rest of the county.
Well, and like history too, right? I mean, that that specific car won Nürburgring, the 1,000 kilometers in Nürburgring. It also won Sebring. I think it had success.
It's been driven
by
von Neumann, and it
Phil Hill.
was unrestored, so it was kind of scruffy and like...
That's cool.
Kind of a little bit rough looking, but very, very honest and very real. And so the cars are heavy. I mean, there was probably, I think registered, there were 17 300 SLs. That's like the uniform. I mean, the 300 SL makes sense because it's got fuel injection and it's got cubes and power.
Do they actually work at 11,000 feet?
Yeah.
Really? That's amazing.
They're cruising along.
Direct injection from 1950s.
They were, it was from airplane engines. So they were designed specifically to accommodate altitude.
That's so crazy.
So, yeah, lots of 300 SLs. That was the uniform cars, 300 SL because it's good, but, still a 7-figure car. And then obviously less expensive stuff like our car and Porsche 356s. And some Jag XKs also. Those are the sort of like entry point cars because they all cost, under $100,000, which is inexpensive for this event. But really heavy. And there were 2 Ferrari 410s of the 35 that were made. Like, it's really wild to see all these cars getting actually used
cool.
in this.
Yeah, I think we made point to go walk through the garage every single night.
At least
you couldn't
once.
get enough.
Yeah. Just to see them all and they get progressively dirtier and some have mechanical issues, of course, and like the Cal Mille, there is an entourage of mechanics and tow trucks and stuff like that, which they're happy to help. And a lot of cars fail to proceed.
I was going to say, what was the finish percentage?
I don't know. It seemed
There's
70,
130 cars, right?
Big event. A lot of cars.
Huge.
Yeah, huge.
I would say at least 75% of the cars finished.
Yeah, I think over 100 for sure.
Yeah.
That's
and, the event is sponsored by Mercedes-Benz. And so they provide loaner cars if your car fails to proceed. And then hopefully the mechanic team can get it running again by lunch or dinner or overnight or whatever the circumstances may be.
I think there was 21 new cars like
new
people,
entrants.
New entrants.
First timers.
But if you think about that, that's 110 virtually regulars that are going on this.
Yeah.
And it's a tight-knit community, but I think that they also know how to prepare their cars and know what the event's about.
For the most part, yeah. There's a couple of, clueless people who will say, well, every time I go to Cars and Coffee, it works fine, so it's probably okay.
Good luck with that.
And then, they're doing a 4-day-long rolling restoration, which is, not the mechanic's preference, obviously. But, yeah, so I think there was a concerted effort this year to introduce, have younger people attending the event. They're worried about the long-term viability of this event generally, which is reasonable for something where the newest cars are 65 years old. So I mean, it's good to be prepared for that. But there was a lot of people who were there, and they would say, I specifically bought a car of this vintage so that I could do this event. Like, it's such a cool event, and it requires you have an old car. And I think it's doing a meaningful part of keeping the interest in cars of this era alive, which I'm obviously super keen about.
Cool.
What else to note? Very fast roads, incredible scenery. I honestly did enjoy it more than the Cal Melee, despite liking the roads less, and despite not being in the right car, which is a high horsepower car. There's just something about it that feels very epic, I guess, or like hardcore.
Yeah, hardcore. I mean, I think you really feel like you're going somewhere. You really feel like you're on a mission. Yeah. Every single day feels like a big day. There's something that we were talking about compared to the Cal Melee. The Cal Melee, you could shortcut each day. So let's say you just want to do the morning, it would be some figure 8 where you do the loop and then you go to the spa and hang out and have a cocktail. And this, you really had to, like, all the checkpoints and waypoints were at the extremity of the loop. Yeah,
lunch was always far away from where you started, so you would
have to do the day in order to fully experience it. And I think that was really rewarding. Yeah, because I think we were one of the few that did every single possible mile on the Cal Melee, and everyone did the whole event here. And I think you saw that in the cars that people brought. Like Charlie Nierberg brought his 300 SL on the Cal Melee, and then he brought his D Type on the Colorado Grand. Yeah.
So it's a little more hardcore. It's not quite as polished or plush, but it's still a very nice event. But it's like the difference between 5 stars and 4.5 stars. I mean, technically, I think the places we stayed were probably still 5 stars, but it just there was less of the sort of like image and felt a little bit less high end, but still high end. And I certainly didn't miss that. And it was cool to see so much of Colorado because I hadn't really driven around in the Rockies at all. So there may be some novelty there also for me.
Did it start and end in
Vail?
In Vail. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So you started 8,000 feet, and then I think we had nights in Steamboat, which are at a mere 6,000 feet. But you go over a bunch of 11,000+ foot mountain passes.
It told you in the route book, I can't remember the number, but it told you how many times we went over 11,000 feet on the final day.
Yeah. That's crazy.
It's a lot of up there. But really, really incredible event. Highly recommend. You get also 3 more years of eligibility. California Melee is 57 and Colorado Grand is 1960. And so it introduces a tranche of cars that you wouldn't see, which was cool. So that's why all the SWBs were there, and that's not an eligible car on the Cal Melee. So cool. Highly recommend the event. The car did great. Aside from, I think we went into Wyoming, which was also very high speed, and we kept hearing. This was day 2, some popping sounds, and we looked at each other. What was that sound? I don't know. And then, so day 2 came and went. And then day 3, partway through, we're like, the starter doesn't sound like it's cranking quite as enthusiastically. And I think also on part of day 2, we started running out of fuel. Long periods of wide open throttle, like into the minutes, the car would start to run out of fuel.
We just thought that was a float bowl problem. We didn't realize at that point.
Or that, like, the stress testing that we had done, we'd never spent 4 minutes at continuous wide open throttle, because you can't really do that around here. But at 11,000 feet, you can. Anyway.
That was climbing, or that's
just like
there was a couple of roads where it was just straight for as long as you could see.
Yeah,
really?
Right, and you're just out there at.
And that car does what, 100?
Yeah, I think we didn't go quicker than 100 very often.
Yep. And obviously, the higher you are, the lower that speed is.
Really? should even out. Shouldn't actually be changed with.
But you have less horsepower if you're at.
But you also have less wind drag. Dun, dun, dun. The only thing that doesn't change is rolling resistance, which is a small portion.
I think you can get there. It just takes a lot longer.
It takes a lot longer, exactly. Yeah, it's always.
I guess
one
we
of those.
didn't have long enough pieces of road to accomplish that. In any case, you see a slight incline coming and you charge the hill to try and build speed before you get up it, and hopefully that you can make to the top of the rise while still in fifth gear.
Today was the first time that I drove that car again since the Colorado Grand, and I was shocked at how much power it has.
Yeah. Sea level does that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was the pop and what was the running out of fuel?
They were all the same.
Yeah, all related.
Yeah, when we got to lunch on day 3, the car wouldn't start because the battery had depleted. Because the voltage regulator had exploded.
Which was the pop?
Which was the pop. And there wasn't enough electricity on board to power the fuel pump, which was why we were running out of fuel.
Wow. Okay. And no charge light on it, I guess.
We had it on the beginning of day 1, and then it went away, and we never saw it again. I think maybe
that was a pop too.
Departed.
Well, I think the way the voltage regulator blew up eventually sent no return signal anymore to.
That would be the Italian way to wire it.
Yeah.
Well, if the whole system goes away, there's no warning light telling you that the entire system is now blown up.
Anymore. Yeah, right.
Yes, there's not enough electricity to light up the dynamo light. So we just gave the battery to the mechanics team, and they gave us a new battery, and that got us through the rest of the day. And then we
whole day.
Yeah, and then we would just swap the battery at the end of every day.
A whole day.
Actually, we made through a day and a half.
Yeah, it did a day and a half
on one battery,
and the wipers were going and everything. I kept the lights off.
So clearly, that the generator was actually working.
No, because I disconnected the generator
so it wouldn't backfeed.
Yeah,
I can't.
Yeah,
that's got to have the most efficient.
Yeah.
Spark
plugs in the world. That's amazing.
Yeah. So we could make it through an entire day on a fully charged battery.
You tried that in a modern car.
Yeah.
And you have running 3 minutes, 4 minutes before it'll start. It'll start
turning things
on. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's not many systems in that car. And we did, we had to have the wipers because it was pouring rain.
Wipers use a lot.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah, especially from that vintage. I imagine it's...
I mean, they're probably horribly inefficient, but still like 6 watts.
Yeah.
But that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
so you never fixed it until you got home.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it's only fixed just now.
Wow.
And what else? The elevation in Colorado is really wild because you're just driving up I-70, which goes to the Eisenhower Tunnel, which is at 11,158 feet, which is the highest vehicle tunnel, I think, in the United States. And you're driving along and through these towns at 10,000 feet, and I kept having my mind blown because as a Californian, Lake Tahoe level is 6,200 feet, and the settlements kind of go up to maybe 7,000 feet, and you think of that as high, and just to drive by like a fucking Taco Bell at 9,000 feet, you're like, what is this place that I'm in?
How do they stand up?
How does the water boil? And so I was like, I wonder what the highest Taco Bell in the world is, and I looked it up, and it turned out the route went through it, so I made us take a photo in front of the highest Taco Bell in the world.
That is the one photo I saw that you posted. So you see how much time I spent on Instagram, right? I saw it was like, why highest Taco Bell? Okay.
Highest elevation, not highest Taco Bell. I'm sure that there are other Taco Bells that are higher
than that at a Taco Bell. Everyone at a Taco Bell is high.
So that was pretty cool. And the towns that we would stop in for lunch were you got a sense of place there. The locals would be there and serving you food, and they'd be like, thank you so much for coming, and they'd tell you about the place that you were in and serve you food that was sort of representative of the place. And I got a very strong sense of place. Unlike Taco Bell. I got a strong sense of place on this event, which I thought was really quite neat.
Cool.
So, that was the Colorado Grand.
I want to go.
Yeah, you should do it. I recommend that everyone do this if you can find a way
if you can afford
to do it.
That's, I think. I'm not going to ask you what it costs. Don't tell me. I'm just going to fantasize about doing it next year.
It costs 2/3 as much as the Cal Melee.
So I only have to mortgage 2/3 of my house. I'm kidding.
It's
and buy a car that's eligible.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you have something that?
And I think it keeps the market and
going.
Yeah,
obviously.
Take that.
It keeps the market and interest of these cars alive. I think that the cars of this era would be much less interesting because there's plenty of guys, which I was pleased to see, who are in their 40s and maybe even 30s there, and they buy cars of this era so they can do this activity, which is, I think, critical to their continued interest, and it introduces people to a new frontier of car use that I think is important to do. So I certainly recommend it unreservedly.
They are somewhat picky about cars as well, though.
Yeah, they would like a sporting car.
Yeah,
they want a sporting car. Like I asked them if when I was talking to the organizer before the event, I said, "Do you want the Alfa or the Jag?" And he said, "Definitely the Alfa." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Is the Jag not sporting enough?
No, it's got 4 doors.
Yeah, but it's probably way faster.
It's definitely torquier and quicker and faster. Yes. But it needs more help.
Saloon is not enough.
More help in the chassis department. I think now that we've proven that we aren't jackasses, I hope, then they will maybe have us back with a less appropriate car.
Maybe you won't get such a big speeding ticket this time.
That's right.
Or maybe we'll get a bigger one because the Jag has more oomph. And more pre-war cars also.
God, that's a big commitment.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Super cool,
in
though.
the fucking rain.
Yeah. There were like 5 or 6 pre-war Bentleys.
And they like to be tough.
Steam engine. Yeah.
They don't want to take their top up.
Yeah.
They don't want to take the time to do that. They want to just power through.
I don't know how much I want to do this event anymore.
A softie.
I'm not man enough
They're like,
for this.
you put your roof up. What are you going?
Yeah, you
soft?
fuckhead. It's raining.
No, that's not. They don't look kindly on that. The Bentley people. I mean, they're the things are like steam locomotives.
No, they're hardcore.
They definitely
That's
are.
so cool.
So,
but the leather will get wet, and
if not for that, then for what?
I think that's very cool.
It is. It's incredibly cool to see these cars, because we always carp about how the cars get squirreled away and hidden and all that stuff. And
there's just nowhere else that you can see the cars getting used, especially hard like that.
I think that's the appeal of some of the Goodwood stuff, right? Is that you can see these cars really getting driven in anger, and we don't have anything like that.
I think this is the closest thing we genuinely have in the States to that.
Yeah, this is certainly
not
more
spectatable. That's the only issue, right?
Yeah, you got to go stand on the side of the road or know where the route's going or whatever.
And then you just
there were looky-loos coming through the parking garage and just looking at the cars. They're interested and obviously very respectful, but just wandering through. The cars were in garages in a parking garage every night. They never spent the night outside.
Why would they? They could get wet, Derek. Mist on them or something.
Yeah, I mean, but nobody obviously was giving a shit.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I think I don't think I've ever done a motoring event that I've enjoyed more than that.
Even more so than our shitbox rallies, and we'll get to your shitbox rally that you guys did. Clearly, very different.
They're very different. I like our rallies more because it's a small group and our friends, and so it's less of a like doing this activity and more hanging out with friends because it's just us, and we of course enjoy hanging out with each other, but it's not the same thing as if you have the whole family together, you know. So we're finding ways to bring more cars next year if they'll have us, and bring the whole company if we can. But yeah, I mean, our rallies and the hangout time at the house afterwards is where you're just hanging out. The house is obviously really enjoyable. So
obviously I stay at 5-star hotels all the time. But what I do prefer is cooking. And there's something really nice about the way we do our rallies. We're just all in one Airbnb, especially
and
when
now
we do it that way.
know what I'm talking about because we did our company OTS one for the first time last weekend. We got back yesterday.
Oh my God. So these were 2 in a row. I love how you bookended the financial spectrum of the automotive world.
Yeah.
Right.
That wasn't my idea. That was Taz's idea.
Just from hearing about all of our shitbox rallies all the time?
Well, I just said I want to do a rally as a company, and Taz is like, that's not hard enough. I think with
that's the mechanic, right? You do realize you're going to be fixing everything that's broken.
Yeah, but surprisingly, everyone's stuff held together, especially
with some intervention.
Yeah, some intervention. I mean, it was a little touch and go with Robert's car going into the rally, but I think once it got there, hold on. Isn't this the same Robert who's blown up every unblowable engine?
Yeah, he blew up his Miata and he blew up his M20 engine.
Yeah, it's the E30, right?
Yeah.
He's got a knack for blowing.
And that's why he now thinks he's unstoppable.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, so what cars were there? What'd you have?
So the premise was, I think this was your idea, right?
Yeah, I just thought that
we should put a cost cap and everyone has to bring something, So the cost target was $2,000.
Okay.
Because it wasn't hard enough just to try and do 600-800 miles or whatever of hard motoring in the weekend. So you said $2,000, and Taz wouldn't reveal what the car was until right when we started, basically. So
what yours was? Correct. All right.
Mine wasn't. Everyone knew what mine was because I already had
it. You fucking cheated. You already
had it. Well, it's not my fault. I was the only one of us who had a sub $2,000 car already. That's not entirely true. Calvin had a $700 Miata, which we were going to try. He paid $700 for this thing that, like you say, it looks like it fell down a flight of stairs. So I thought, oh, okay, he'll bring the Miata, but he didn't bring the Miata.
Okay.
He actually blew the budget, but it was a pre-existing car because he rode the train like an hour to go get the Miata, and he realized he didn't have the key to the Miata. And so he said, rather than take the train home an hour and get the key to the Miata, I'll just bring the other car, which is a 1976 Datsun 280Z.
Cool.
Which is not the one you want, 76, because it has to be smogged. It's the first year of fuel injection and the last year of the 4-speed. So it's just the worst of all worlds, which is part of why he did blow the budget by paying $3,200 for the car.
But I think it was more appropriate.
But he owned it already.
Miata,
it was more appropriate than the Miata because it was certainly less of a sure thing because he bought the car and it hadn't been on the road since 1991.
Or 2, I think.
Well, the sticker was 92. So my assumption was that sticker was applied in 91. But anyway, 35 almost years since the car had run. He bought it in college and spent all of college fixing it. And then.
So it's not like he just got the car.
No. He's had it for a while. And at the end of college, he finally got the car running and then he left. And so the car had never left campus while he's owned it because he went through every system in it. Fuel injection, radiator, brakes, the transmission came out. I think the engine never came out. But basically everything you need to do to get a car on the road that's been off the road for 30 plus years.
Okay, so this was really its virgin
Yes.
voyage.
He said he'd never driven the car off of the college campus.
Oh my God.
Yeah, just getting it to the shop.
Yeah, getting it to the shop was like 40 miles or whatever it was.
First freeway experience.
Yeah.
That's courageous.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was that car. I had my $1,300 salvage title C280, which we bought as a rallycross car 18 months ago, maybe 2 years ago.
And have vetted quite well.
Yeah, it's gone all over the place and
on
been
snow tires.
places. Yeah, I have the car's lifted and on snow tires. I don't think we've done any maintenance besides changing fluids to it. We thought it was really, really slow, and we did a timed 0 to 60, and then we changed the air filter, and then the 0 to 60 improved by 1 second.
Oh my God.
So
what the hell was in that filter?
Well, all the off-roading detritus. But yeah, the Mercedes was fine, and then Taz bought. Where did you find this thing?
Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah,
where I spend most of my evenings.
What is it?
It's a 72 MG midget.
Oh, okay, that's the midget. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, super happy car now. Wasn't when I got it. I went up to Vacaville. It was in a barn for many years.
With spiders?
Yeah, lots of spiders. Faith was really upset about all the spiders.
Yeah, he brought his fiancée.
And you're still engaged?
Still engaged.
Okay,
happier than ever, even though she didn't drive it the whole time, which she was upset about.
She should have.
She should have. But I bought the car on the premise that it only needed a clutch slave.
Mm-hmm.
And I got it to my house, and I did all this at my house because I couldn't possibly bring it to the shop because then they would see
Disowned.
it.
Yeah.
Well, disowned by his father and also the other rally attendees
2 strikes.
Yeah.
would see it.
So it ended up being asked to work on that car in my garage because it ended up needing the engine and transmission to come out. It had no second gear. 3rd and 4th were questionable. I had to find a couple transmissions to blow apart for spare parts.
Oh my God.
So it ended
How much
up
did you pay for those?
0. They were free.
Oh.
So it was within budget. But
how much did you pay
for the car? $1,850.
Okay.
And I allotted myself, I painted the engine to make it look like it was freshly rebuilt, which that was a $17 can of green paint from Moss Motors. Okay. So I allotted certain things into the budget to get it up to $2,000.
Okay. You wanted to push to the max.
He took the budget seriously, unlike some other attendees.
Yeah, I mean safety equipment I think didn't count, similar to Lemons, right? Where tires, no worries, brake stuff, no worries, but performance gains had to be within that cap.
Okay.
So the clutch slave was not just a clutch slave.
No, the release bearing had imploded, and so when I took the motor off, there was just pieces of bearing all throughout the bell housing.
Okay.
So it needed a clutch.
And then you rebuilt the transmission.
Yeah, because it needed that too.
Well,
how long of a
kind of rebuilt.
Yeah, it pops out a third.
Oh, whatever.
But if you can drive
And
one-handed,
also
it
second.
works well. Yeah, but at time, I mean, it's pretty good most of the time.
Yeah, it stays in second mostly. Third, it will not stay in unless you hold it.
Oh, really?
Unless you're full throttle. If you're full throttle,
Yes.
it stays.
Well,
So
just
if
be
you
full throttle.
Yeah,
It's
that's
not
right.
exactly that fast.
That's right.
What was your runway for? Like, how long did you have to do this?
I had like 2 months.
Oh, well, it's not that.
I bought it right before Car Week.
Okay.
And then
That's not a long time to have to do all this work.
it ended up consuming my life.
Yeah, because the transmission's apart on the bench. And he has cars going to Pebble Beach that he has to like show them to the judges at Pebble Beach, and he's got an MG transmission blown apart.
I'm more
on the
surprised
bench.
that I'm still engaged from getting the car prepared, not the rally itself. Because there was many nights I'd come home and work on that thing until, I don't know, midnight or so. One of my friends came over and we pulled the engine. We didn't have a cherry picker at the house, so we pulled the engine out ourselves, just muscled it out the front of the thing, which you can do with a 1.2 thing.
Yeah, it's a big block, 1275 cc's, because those.
It's iron, isn't it?
It's heavy.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah, but I think lighter than that thing.
Okay.
What else did you do to that car? Brakes?
I think that was a lot of work to do in 2 months.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I mean, I just did general service stuff.
Okay, so we have the Datsun, the Mercedes,
The
MG.
MG Midget, which has a beautiful British Leyland badge on it, so you know it's
cool.
going to be good. We've talked about
Quality
Leyland
not,
before. Garbage cars. And we had 2 British Leyland cars attend the event because the 4th rally attendee, our 3rd founder of the business, Robert, brought a Triumph Spitfire.
Ooh.
And what day of the week did he buy that car on? Was it a Wednesday, I think? The event started on a Friday, and he bought the car a week and 2 days before
I'm
the event
surprised it
started.
It was a whole week plus 2 days. I figured, knowing him, it was just 2 days.
2 days prior.
Okay.
So the Triumph Spitfire is a lovely 77, so also smog requiring. 1500 cc. It's choked down for smog, so it's got a single carburetor, single Stromberg carburetor, and all fresh emissions equipment, but nothing else about the car was fresh.
Oh, God.
Yeah, someone spent a huge amount of time and effort
Trying to get the car to smog because it had license plates on it.
Brand new catalytic converter, brand new smog pump, brand new charcoal canister.
Yeah, the evap canister was new.
All
Everything
which
else
he would
about
have
the
ripped
car
out if he had bought it more than 10 days in advance, I suspect. But
yeah, if you wanted to register in California, but somehow somebody smogged the car and it was registered in California previously. A remarkable achievement for sure. A lot of the car is remarkable. There are no boots left on any of the tie rod ends. The steering rack boots are
duct taped.
Yeah, the left one is made of duct tape.
okay.
The right one is, so deteriorated that you can see the part of the rack that it comes out of the end that's supposed to be covered by it.
Whatever. It'll just wear faster. It's fine.
What else did we have with that car?
It had a pretty significant shake due to some driveline.
Yeah, it has a driveline, really an aggressive driveline judder, for sure.
It was factory, wasn't that? Didn't they all come from the factory that way? My British Leyland product definitely has that.
Oh, yes. Yeah, so I was thinking the Rover SD1. I was looking for Rover SD1s, actually. If I had been able to find a Rover SD1 in time for the event, I might have. Now, once I knew that they both had British Leyland products, I was like, I was like madly scrambling, looking at every British Leyland product I could possibly find. And there was
Said no one ever.
That was an entirely new sentence. And Taz actually did find a Jag XJ6 in LA that for what was it, 3,500?
It was wrapped in London Jack.
Yeah, it had the Union Jack graphics on it. But the person said it had passed smog and that it had a clean title and was functional. And if it had been local, I would have gone and looked at it, which means I probably would have bought it. But so the Triumph, what did we do to the Triumph? Coolant flush?
Yeah, we did coolant flush.
A lot of rust came out of the radiator. The oil looked like shit. The brake fluid also looked like shit. A lot of suspended particulates in both the coolant and the brake fluid.
When you say like shit, you mean like actually like brown and chunky, or like
yeah.
You don't mean poor quality. You meant actual.
No,
feces.
like it looked like fecal matter.
The U joint. Robert and I did one of the U joints. It had like a 1/2 inch of play. So when you were driving it
only
was
half.
dunk, 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 dunk the whole entire time. So we did do that, which I think was wise.
Required.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would have cracked in half.
Our target departure time was noon, and at 11:45, the car was on the lift still, getting a fuel line replaced because there were like visible cracks in the fuel line by the tank. So it was pretty touch and go.
So you were trying to make it not spit fire?
Yes. Not
it was
torch itself.
It was quite literally over the muffler, I think, was where that line was.
You could have ended this whole misery so much earlier had you just left that fuel line, you realize.
Yes, that is all true. But then where was the fun in that?
On video? Sorry.
Yeah.
I do not advocate torching your cars.
It would have done it itself.
Yeah, that's true.
So that was all the prep.
Okay. All right. So where did you go?
So we went north on 101, just transit. We decided to make day 0 or day 1 a transit day just to get to the house. It's all of, I think Google Maps says it's 2 hours and 130 miles or something like that, which it was not.
It was by far the hardest day.
Yeah.
Did everything
day
break?
1.
The Mercedes, I'm guessing, never give you any
Well, you know, the Mercedes was tough because there was a pretty annoying rattle from the sunroof.
This is just spoken like a typical Mercedes asshole.
That was really pretty difficult to live with. The other problem was that it was day 1 was quite warm, which taxed all of the cars, and the air conditioning in the Mercedes wasn't working properly. So the one of my 3 co-owners in this car also co-owned the SD1 with us. And he is inclined to perform engineering at times. And to get the AC running, the compressor would periodically just switch off, and it would never stay running for more than a minute at a time. So the air conditioning wasn't cold. And so he had the bright idea of running power.
It was hardwire.
Yeah, hardwiring power to it, which he pulled off of the left front side marker light.
So it only has AC when the lights are on?
Yes.
Okay.
So it was easy for people to tell whether I had the AC on because the parking lights would be on.
Also, the windows are closed and you're comfortable.
Yes.
But yes.
So that was a fun feature, but at least I had AC. And then somehow in the course of doing this, I'm not sure why this was introduced, but if you turn the car off with the AC, with the parking lights on, it would stay running. And you could pull the key out of the ignition. And then you'd have to turn the parking lights off for the engine to turn off. So
what backfeed bullshit is wow. Okay.
I don't know. So yeah, you have to use both ignition switches if the AC has been running in order to turn the engine off. The Mercedes was otherwise faultless. One of the air conditioning turn indicator flew off, so I lost my air conditioning partway through the event.
An air conditioning indicator. Oh,
the parking light flew off.
That's resulting in no air conditioning. That's like customer states. The turn signal has departed. Therefore, I have no AC.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So the Mercedes was otherwise faultless.
I'm guessing no one else had air conditioning.
Definitely not.
Okay. Great.
But the cars were generating enough heat on their own. I think it was very taxing day 0 because it was like 80 degrees, 90 degrees.
It was 95. It was 95 at some parts.
I wouldn't know. My temperature gauge says it's 136 degrees always.
Yeah,
not in the car. Not if the headlights are on in the car.
It was quite hot, and there was a gradual climb kind of most of the day. You were kind of constantly just doing this uphill battle, which, I think hurt every single car minus the Mercedes.
Yeah.
This is the trick. You always just, any cheap car economy challenge, you just buy a Mercedes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're cheap as shit. It was $1,300 with a salvage title, and like it works perfectly, except for the air conditioning, which
I think quite literally all of us thought that we weren't going to make it past day 1.
Yeah.
I think there was one point where we thought, we're going to get to the house.
We did stop a number of times. So we stopped for lunch, and we came back from eating, and there were puddles of coolant under both of the British Leyland cars.
That's normal.
Large.
It's thermal expansion.
No, it was like the size of the front end of the car.
Yeah, it was like half the
normal
size of the car. And so thus began some concern.
But there was ultimately nothing?
I know that my car certainly developed a crack in its overflow tank, which made it
at one
zero
point,
pressure system. So we got to a really cool crystal rock shop off the side of the freeway.
Like a rock store.
Where I also noticed that my temp gauge was pegging.
At 230.
So we pulled off there to look at some rocks, and once it cooled down, I found out that I had a crack and that I had no coolant in my system anymore. So I think
went through a lot of water.
Went through a lot of water to get it to a Napa store where we could buy some JB Weld to resolve that issue. But I think Robert's car also in high temp like that, climbing hill, is pressurizing the cooling system and also expelling water in a different way.
Therefore, head gasket.
Yeah.
For those who are not mechanically inclined.
Yeah, but at 50 horsepower and like on a cool day, I don't think there's enough
blow by.
To actually have it be an issue.
Plus he could have, if he was nice, siphoned off some of that excess cooling system pressure with a small hose over to your car and pressurized your cooling system, thus raising the boiling point and solving your issue. But he's
selfish.
holding
hands, and our cars could be as well.
Next to each other. Next to each other doing 45 miles an hour on the highway.
Yeah. And then you had a number of other issues on day one with your car as well.
Yeah.
You had the car started running quite poorly. And so we pulled over on the side of 101 and it was only doing it under load. And so you thought it was an ignition issue. So we did a roadside coil
swap.
Yeah. Which didn't fix the problem.
You had one with you clearly.
He had a spare coil. Yeah. And then it turned out that it was actually running out of fuel because the rust from the fuel tank had occluded the fuel filter.
It was a little one of those clear jobs that you can blow through and keep going.
Well, you couldn't blow through it because it was so occluded.
Okay. You just remove the filter then. No problem.
Yeah,
kidding.
I think the total filter number I went through was 6 on the rally.
Think of how much rust you removed from your tank. It's halfway fixed.
Yeah. No, keep going. Another rally will be all done.
Jesus Christ.
So was that the extent of the issues, I guess?
I think for my car, it also was consuming, I burned up axle seals on the final day.
Yes.
So it was leaking diff oil.
Well, we pulled up to, we did the section of road that you and I particularly enjoy that ends right at the coast after a long extended section of ass hauling.
You did that downhill or uphill?
We did it downhill.
That's courageous.
And Taz gets out of the car and he's like, great piece of road, but this car really loves to be sideways. And I was like, what?
So you're greasing
Isn't it rated at 65 horsepower? And then I looked at the rear tires and there's grease all on the sidewall. It's got the tire shine in a radial pattern because the axle seals had failed and there was just gear oil all over the tires. And that's why he had no rear grip.
And why are they dead now?
Nobody could keep up, actually.
Okay. Really?
When we were really moving along.
Yeah, of course no one could keep it. The road is greased. He's literally doing an oil slick behind him.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah, oops.
So for most of the time, actually, everyone was able to maintain pace. On snow tires, the Mercedes has very little grip, and
Perfect.
so
but a huge amount of control.
Yes.
It is amazing.
Yeah, I made Taz drive it up on our hill climb that we always do, the non-center line bumpy one. And well, you can share your impressions of
you can just have that thing completely, like coming around at a low speed and it's a riot.
People sleep on Mercedes chassis tuning, but every Mercedes I've ever hustled on a back road, especially the shittier the tires, the more assy they are. They're really, really, really good.
There was one moment where I was just feeding it and seeing what it wanted to do, and it resulted in a little bit of a tank slapper coming back around. But it was a riot. It was super fun, and like all this is happening at 35 miles an hour.
Perfect. Yeah.
Like nothing can possibly go wrong.
Yeah.
Almost
you
nothing.
say that.
Don't say those words.
Yeah.
It's very good at four-wheel drifts. It's quite neutral, but you can provoke it, with weight transfer, which you saw me doing. You both observed that I sort of flick the cars in, which I do to upset them, to try and get them a little out of shape for amusement.
Lift, turn, stab.
Yeah. Exactly. And the tires were very loud and the grip was so little. So the interestingly on a good road, as long as the horsepower wasn't a factor, the MG was almost exactly the same speed as the Mercedes on these tires.
Wow.
The tires were the great equalizer. Because on grippy tires, the Mercedes would have
left everyone. It would have been boring.
Driven away. Yeah. So I was glad to have the snow tires.
Did the tires chunk apart in the heat or?
They definitely, go ahead.
They look pretty good to me.
They definitely didn't sound good on the highway on the way back. Yeah. They aren't as round as they once were, but they look okay.
They'll be fine on the mud.
Yes. I think that's right.
I still have yet to see this car in person.
Oh, really?
Let's drive it. Yeah. I've been hearing about this for like 2 years now, but
yeah.
It's really good.
It's pretty funny, especially when you consider the price. So yeah, that was day 2 by comparison was like the actual driving day.
Mm-hmm.
Did we have any incidents on day 2? Just some fuel filter replacements?
Yeah, fuel filter and cooling periods for both my car and Robert's.
To let them cool off. Yeah. But the JB Weld repair held.
Yeah.
There was definitely night wrenching.
Mm-hmm.
And because his axle seals failed and he was lubricating his tires, he
added
diff oil.
Diff oil. My car was consuming a quart of oil every 130 miles.
That's significant.
Substantial. Yes.
I mean, you have no cat, right? So it's what year is your car?
72.
72. Yeah, no cat. So who cares?
Yeah, it was fine.
Just keep.
I think everyone behind us was getting a little.
They're all dead
dumb.
now from between the oil slick and the smoke screen. You're
and
basically bombed.
Malaria has been eradicated because there are no insects left.
All the mosquitoes are dead.
The goal is to win the rally, right? However you tackle it.
Oh God. So was there a timed portion of this, a race?
No.
It was just get home.
There was a drag race.
There was a drag race
in a 35 zone and no laws were broken.
So let me guess, Mercedes won.
No, there was just a 2-car drag. It was the British Leyland cars. And we haven't talked at all about the Datsun because nothing went wrong with it.
You're kidding.
It had a long brake pedal, but that was about it.
It had a very long, soft brake pedal despite all new brake components. Yeah.
Okay, that's astonishing.
For
given
zero
what it
shakedown. Yeah. The house the house we stayed at was at down a 2 or 3 mile long washboarded unpaved road, and the cover of the MAF has a barn door, which I was surprised by. EFI in 1976. It looks like a it's Bosch Matronic looking barn door.
Did that barn door come out? That had to be one of the very first cars to. Hold on, there was something else recently that I saw super early. Well,
D-Jet. D-Jet is technically EFI.
Yeah, but D-Jet is pressure.
It doesn't have a
it doesn't have a barn door. So this means L, which is I thought Rover was one of the first in 1980. So
he said it was a Bosch system. I didn't confirm it was Bosch, but it was a barn door that looks like a Matronic barn door.
When I did a Z episode, now I'm thinking I think that car might have been one of the first ever to use that system.
In any case, there's a plastic cover on it that falls off, and apparently you lose throttle control when that happens. The car was just idling and unresponsive to the throttle pedal.
Oh, normally it's just a plastic cover. You pull it off and you can
clean the contacts.
Clean the contacts and fatten the mixture if you tighten the clock spring. But,
Anyway, the car had no throttle after that, and then we taped it back on, and the car ran beautifully for the remainder of the 2 days.
The fuck weirdness vacuum. I mean, that's bizarre. Whatever.
Yep. So that was the only issue with the Datsun, and it was just shaken apart by the unpaved road that we were on.
That road was impressive.
Yeah,
because it was quite long and it was quite
very
steep.
Mm-hmm. And the poor rear-wheel drive cars.
Yeah, I mean, my car had to be throttled the whole way up. You kind of had
he's like in a cloud of dust.
My car had.
Oh, shucks. I feel so bad for you. I have to drift the whole way out of the Airbnb.
My car did this on several occasions where if you needed to get over like kind of a bumpy section of road or dirt, it would start to kind of pogo and you would feel like you're on a dirt bike where you're like kind of making it over and you kind of get these moments of just, free spinning, traction searching. It's hilarious fun, but I could tell that the car wasn't thrilled.
Yeah.
Mercedes loved it.
Yeah, I'm sure. How lifted is that car?
It's probably 1.5 inches, 2 inches lifted.
And they were off-roady to begin with. So.
Yes, and it has the snow tires. But when we were leaving, when we wouldn't be having to go back, I was kind of power sliding up the hill. I didn't do it on the first day because we'd have to go back. Mm-hmm. But, when you're leaving the house for the last day. So I had a great time.
Cool.
But yeah, the cars all made it. Some intervention required. It was an adventure, more of an adventure than our rallies are. A different adventure.
Different kind of adventure.
Yeah, probably less
motoring, less miles.
Yeah,
probably less pace too.
Much less pace.
Yeah.
But more limit. Mm-hmm. I've definitely haven't spent as much time being sideways or in four-wheel drifts on our other rallies as I did this one because the Mercedes has
you're
so
always
little grip.
in a race-prepped Porsche, basically.
No, I mean the other Mercedes. You didn't do the large barge when I was in the R129, but that car had much more grip. Yeah. So it was not as much sideways.
So when this episode goes live, but this week the R129 Revelations episode will have gone live.
Mm-hmm.
And the driving sequence at the end, I did all 3 cars. So this was, if you guys haven't seen the episode yet, I have a 300 SL, so the 5-speed dogleg 6-cylinder R129 plus a 500, your 500 plus a 600 V12, and I beat the shit out of all the cars on the way up the hill because they're all owned by friends, and so I don't have to explain.
And the Mercedes-Benzes.
And the Mercedes-Benzes. And the 300 was the most fun, I think, mostly because the tires just never shut up. And it was, you just hear this terrifying the entire way up the hill. But your car motors
sounded like a whale being tortured.
being tased in the balls. Fun times too.
It's a good activity. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. What was your impression of you've attended your first Derek rally?
Yeah, I really liked it.
You should complain about the route. He gets very upset about that.
The route was good. It was a lot of transit, but we needed it to be.
Yeah.
I thought the route was actually very, very good.
Damn it. Sorry. You guys have to work together.
But I was really happy. I mean, that car really appreciated his route. So if I said something other, I wouldn't be honest.
You wouldn't be honest? Fine.
We cut out some of I would have loved cars that were more durable so we could do more of the roads that I wanted to do, but I'd say taxed the cars as much as was appropriate or feasible. And I was hugely impressed, especially by the Triumph, because the Triumph got almost no prep. I mean, you are a professional and spent 2 months prepping your car. The Triumph, we changed the fluids and you did a U-joint and a fuel line. And it was $2,500.
That's amazing.
It did knock the cap. There was that one cap
yes.
that got blown
At the
off.
end of day 1, the Triumph started running like shit. And we pulled the spark plugs out. Actually, what we did is we started sequentially pulling off spark plug leads. So I was like, this thing doesn't sound like it's running on 4 cylinders. And so I said, sequentially pull the spark plug leads off and see, where that makes a difference. And it's a single carburetor with a shared intake manifold, but there's 2 branches. One that goes to the front cylinders and one that goes to the back cylinders. And we pull off the front 2 plugs and the car definitely runs shittier. And you pull off the back 2 spark plug leads and it still sounds like shit. And did the rear plugs look... No, all the plugs looked pretty decent, actually.
Yeah.
We pulled all the plugs out. They all looked decent. But we noticed that it only started running like shit when you pulled the rear leads... Or that it made no difference when you pulled the rear 2 cylinders leads off. And so, I don't know. How long did you guys spend? It was probably
I felt bad because I left Robert to his own ways with the car for a little bit. And Robert struggles to eat an apple sometimes. So,
he's going to hear this, right?
Yeah. Sorry, he's not here. No, but eventually I wandered out there and we were looking through and it became apparent that there was like some vacuum leak or something. So ultimately there was just this nipple that was just too atmosphere on the back end of the manifold. It was just completely unplugged. Just sucking in air.
Yeah, there's supposed to be like a little cap over it, which is covering this hole that it is emitting, unmixed, unfueled air. And there's this pretty terrific sucking noise of the air being drawn into that hole. So anyway, I put my thumb over it and then the car started running perfectly.
Fixed.
And I consulted old pictures and there was a rubber cap on there that obviously had departed.
I was lucky he didn't pop the motor running that lean.
Yeah. This must have happened right as we were getting off the exit to our house.
Yeah.
Right? And he had to climb a pretty substantial several mile hill.
Well, if he's at full throttle, there's no vacuum.
I think it was getting unmetered air in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. But at least it will get air in. But
you had to get a running start to make it up one of the hills. So
yeah,
all the way down.
I was like, "Where is everybody?" And then turned around and went back, and the car's like perched on the side of a very steep hill, running like shit.
There's this poor sweet old lady on FaceTime watering her plants that he was revving the shit out of the car right in front of.
And we listened to there is video of this, and we listened to the video after the fact, and we were like, what does this sound like? And eventually I was like, it sounds like an airplane because he's at wide open throttle going by and the revs aren't climbing because it doesn't have enough power up the hill for the revs to climb. Right. So it just sounds like an airplane because it goes by continuous same RPM.
Yeah, full load 2,500 RPM.
Yeah.
That's
and
funny.
So, it was a little bit sad. But anyway, we fixed it with In the course of driving up the hill, a screw popped out of his dashboard and ended up in the footwell. So he took that screw and put painter's tape around it and then put it into the hole and turned it in, and then the car ran fine for the rest of the event.
Perfect.
So
fixed with higher quality materials than British Leyland would have built the car initially. So.
Yeah, well, you wanted to use JB Weld, and I was like, let's do something reversible.
You need that port.
I have no idea why it's there. It was factory capped for some reason.
For a vacuum gauge? Was there an optional vacuum gauge for it?
Diagnostic port?
Yeah, it probably is. Yeah,
probably. Yeah.
Yeah. So there was some adventure, but yeah, we got there. Anyway, I don't know what the point of all that was, but we had a great time.
As long as you had fun.
Yeah.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah,
I would do that.
Super.
Yeah, it wasn't any less fun than doing it in real cars. Maybe more. It was more fun in some respects, and I only would have liked us to be more confident the cars were going to make it, so we could have done more miles.
So are you guys all keeping the cars, or are they going to, I mean, I know you're keeping yours. Uh-oh.
I'm keeping mine. I think the Datsun will stay forever because
3 of them have already been lit on fire, is what you're saying. Gone.
No, I like my car.
You like your car?
I have dreams and aspirations for it.
Okay. And does your father know that it exists yet?
No, he does know that it exists because he's upset about it. But he doesn't know. He thinks that it's getting sold soon.
Okay.
He tuts disapprovingly. It does need maybe a little more compression.
Yeah.
The Triumph is available.
Well, look, it's vetted now.
Yeah, I mean, I think I said this, and I genuinely mean it. I think he added real value to the car because I think that a lot of freshly restored Spitfires, like the most beautiful restored Spitfire, went on Bring a Trailer and reserved R&M'd for $5,100, and the guy was asking $30,000 for it on Facebook, and then it's now $15,000, and it's beautiful. You look at like the firewall and like under the brake master cylinder, and it's all like pristine and gorgeous and totally unrecognizable compared to the brown car. Oh, it's also shit brown. I should add that the Spitfire's shit brown.
It probably also needs a diff though.
Yeah, it maybe needs a diff, but it did survive.
Just 'cause it's making noise, or?
Yeah, it makes quite a bit of ruckus. But yeah, I think it adds value to say that this car just did, by my math, 524 miles is what we did.
And he was hustling it too.
Yeah, he was keeping up just fine. I think there, especially given the amount of rubber left in the suspension bushings, which I would say is probably slim to none. It's not without needs.
I'm amazed that the engine survived. I mean, with the history he has of blowing up unkillable engines.
Well, yeah, and he ran it super lean for a while, and ran it super hot for a while, and the thing still hasn't let go yet. So, I don't know. It was an impressive feat.
I like it. I think we should do another rally, a shitbox rally, but everything has to be carbureted. That's a great equalizer. I mean, fuel injection is cheating.
Yeah,
I think so.
The first start of the morning was always this like, the injected cars would just start up and drive away, and there would I don't know. I think your car on average probably took 5 sort of attempts where it would run.
Yeah, I think like one of the few things I didn't have time to really get to was, besides the carburetor and filter, was the rest of the fuel system. So it had an original SU fuel pump in it, which wasn't very active, and the tank was obviously shit. So it needed some
coaxing.
Primer.
Yeah. And then the Triumph, none of these cars would ever start and stay running on the first, second, third, fourth, or fifth attempts. None of the Leyland cars. All the injected cars would just start on the first turn of the key, of course.
Yeah, we take that for granted. For granted that carburetor cars didn't work when they were new.
Yeah. And that was one of the conversations that we had was, I can't believe that just regular citizens who just wanted to not walk would have to deal with shit like this in the 1970s and before.
I mean, I was there not in the very late 70s and early 80s. My dad had an 81 Land Cruiser, 82, 84, whatever. Why can't I think of it right now? Our Saab was an 81. Well, either way, a carbureted Land Cruiser, and I would have to go out and start it in the morning and keep it running so that he could drive me to school. If it really snowed a lot, that was the only time my parents would drive us to school. And even that, it was a Toyota. But if you didn't choke it and you weren't
tickle it just right,
it was crank, and then you flooded it, and then that's how it was. My mom in 2000. This is even crazier. My mom lived on Aruba, little tiny island, and in 2000, she bought 4. She opened a car rental business, and one of their first purchases was 4 Toyota Tercels, and they looked just like the U.S. market Tercels. Except if you'd get in it, they had no heater core. So it was just because it never gets cold on the island. So the AC switch was just cold to not cold. There was no red. It was blue to white. And they had no rear defrosters and stuff like that. And I remember going to the dealership with her. I just happened to be there to pick up these cars, and she needed 4 people, to drive 4 cars home. And I just remember starting it, and they were carbureted.
In 2000.
In 2000.
They were new?
Brand new. And I'm like, she's like, yeah, choke it, Jason. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah.
Wow.
So we are, that was the end of the carburetor. And so they started, but they just did long cranks. And I think it was that sort of, you tap the pedal a little bit to set the choke and then tap it again to undo it. But yeah, we're spoiled.
Well,
that sounds like fun.
It was great fun.
Both the uber rich version and then the uber poor version.
Yeah, they're different fun. I don't know. What is your impression about the two events compared to each other?
It's interesting because obviously the crux of it is that you want good motoring, right? I mean,
yes,
that's what you want, and I think both provided that for me, certainly. There was that one stretch on day 2 or 3 at the Colorado Grand that I won't forget. Probably was my favorite moment of that whole entire trip.
Oh, the morning.
Yeah, the morning run.
The morning from Steamboat was, really fast sweeping section. We got it wide open, almost.
Yeah, really fantastic. But, there was also the motoring day that we had in the MG Midget where that thing was like yawed out the whole entire time. That car, it was so shitty in every single way and had such a little grip that you could be coming around a corner, having the thing sideways, just have this really beautiful moment of being off throttle where the car is rotating and you just slap on the throttle. Mm-hmm. It spits out some garbage, maybe an attempt at a flame, and then
chunk of
out
rust.
Of there. Yeah.
It made it through the filter.
Yeah.
And then it goes.
You just do that on repeat for what felt like endless miles. That was also equally as rewarding. So.
It is, I would say, for me at least, it's gratifying to, obviously we interact with pretty heavy hardware professionally, and to still get this much joy out of something that, costs about as much as a cell phone or a computer.
Yeah. True.
is pretty wild. I like Taz's agnosticness. Obviously he deals with very important, significant, multi-million-dollar cars, but he is, at his core,
a fan of the shitbox.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right. Well, hopefully we do another rally soon and we have more to talk about and we can rub it in our audience's faces that we're doing it.
Everyone should do this. We say this every time we talk about rallying, but everyone should do this activity. If you're a car enthusiast, you should do this, and you should do it in something that...
You should move to somewhere where there are great roads and then...
Yeah, or do the thing that people from the Midwest do where they're like, I drove the tail of the dragon and I drove there 14 hours to get there and had one good road and it was the best day ever. It's or you could, we can just do that anytime we like, but we're spoiled.
Kind of. Although you guys did go all the way to Colorado for good roads, so and that was 14
That's because that's where the event was.
Yep, the same basic idea.
Not because we needed to. Yes. It's true.
Okay.
All right.
Join us again next week.
Yeah, thank you for joining us for this episode
of the Carmudgeon Show. Us.
Yeah, thanks for having me
here.
Yeah.
See if that thing starts on... Get the fuck out of here for the next episode. Next episode's going to start with us pushing that thing. I'm totally kidding.
It'll be fine. It's an excellent example.
Listen to all the things we've said.
Yeah.
Does it speak English?
And it's not a Leyland product, most importantly.
Maybe jealous, though.
Yeah, that it didn't get to go this weekend. We can bring in another one.
Yeah.
It's not a shitbox. It's very cool.
Thanks.
All right.
All right. Thank you for joining us. See you soon.